All right. All right. So imagine the freedom of you never having to worry about running out of money during your retirement years and living a life where you can travel, you can spoil your grandkids, and you can enjoy life without financial stress. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine the opposite of that. Imagine you outliving your savings and being forced to depend on others. Okay. Now, this isn't just a financial issue. Okay. This is about preserving your independence and your dignity. Okay. And so tonight, in tonight's live stream, I'm going to be talking about how women can avoid the pitfall of underestimating their retirement finances. And I'm also going to give you some practical steps that you can take to make sure that you don't fall into that trap. Okay. All right. And so let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. Okay. And so first of all, we gotta talk about why this is such a mistake and how often we see this play out. Okay. Um, I'm sure that like somebody, some woman who is living just off of her social security, who never has enough to take the trips that she wants to take. She may always be talking about how her social security just doesn't stretch enough, or that if she does have more than just social security, that even with her social security plus any other, say maybe a teacher's pension, or if she worked for the government, her government pension, even though she might have that in addition to her social security, it still just isn't enough for her to live the life that she would like to live comfortably during retirement. Okay. And you don't want to be that woman. You don't want that story to be your story. Okay. Like most of the time, we as women, we spend our lives juggling careers, caregiving, and planning for everybody else. Okay. And I have been guilty of this too. Right. But when it comes to planning for our retirement, okay, we put ourselves last. Okay. And so by putting yourself last, then this can lead to the harsh reality that so many women find themselves underfunded during their golden years. Okay. And so this live is to help you to combat that. Okay. And so now, statistically, women outlive men. Okay, with the average lifespan for women being quite longer. Okay, being approximately 5 to 7 years longer. Okay, and this longer lifespan means that women often need their retirement savings to last longer. Okay, sometimes into the 80s and the 90s, even the 100s. My grandma lived to be 98. She was almost 100 years old. Okay. And so additionally, as you get older, your healthcare costs, they tend to rise with age. Okay. And so women generally do incur higher medical expenses due to longevity and gender specific healthcare needs. Okay. And many women also underestimate how much they will spend annually in retirement. Okay. Now, this can be due to unforeseen costs like supporting your aging parents, assisting adult children financially, or needing long-term care. Okay. And so without accurate projections and adjustments, retirement funds can deplete quickly, leaving women financially vulnerable in their later years. Okay. And so the first thing that you want to do is you want to understand the real cost of retirement. Okay. And so when you're calculating your retirement needs, a general rule is to aim for aim to save 10 to 15 times your annual salary. Okay. Now, you do have to factor in healthcare costs. You do have to account for inflation. Okay. $50,000 today in 2025 will definitely not have the same buying power as it will in 20 years. Okay. And you have to consider life expectancy. Okay. Plan for retirement that can last 30 or more years. Okay. Now, there are retirement calculators that you can use to project how much you will need based on your desired lifestyle. But you also want to work with a professional who can also help you to calculate your income and help you um, to purchase and to get into products and saving vehicles that will help you to save much, much more for retirement. Okay. Now, you also want to prepare for your healthcare costs. Okay. Now, women often underestimate how much their healthcare will cost in retirement. Okay. And so the average woman retiring at 65 can expect to spend over $150,000 on life care, on health care during her lifetime. And this is not including long-term care. Okay. Now, this is just the estimate. Okay. Now, you will have to consider factors like that may be less for you if you are healthier. Now, if you have a chronic illness or you have some type of medical condition, you could potentially spend more than that. Okay. So it really does depend upon your health. Now, there are things you can do, when it comes to like your diet and exercise, taking care of yourself so that you can reduce those costs. Um, However, healthcare as you get older, no matter how healthy you are, healthcare does cost more the older that you are. Okay. Now, you definitely want to look into a health savings account because health savings accounts are a way that you can save money for specifically for healthcare needs. And if you do not spend the money within the year, the money can be rolled over. Okay. And so when you get into retirement, even if you like if you have Medicare, okay, they do have Medicare savings plans that are available that you can get that do work with health savings accounts. Once you hit the Medicare age, you aren't able to um, add any more money into those accounts, but however, you have that money available. So if you have a health savings account, that is a way that you can start saving for medical expenses now so that you was kind of have that cushion when retirement comes. Okay. Now, healthcare savings accounts do have annual limits, but even with the annual limits, just knowing that you have that account that is specifically for your healthcare needs can be it's something that takes the burden off of you in retirement. Okay. Now, the contributions to health savings accounts are tax free, and withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are also tax free. So that's another way that you don't have to pay taxes on this money, and you can use it for your health care needs. Now, you also want to explore long-term care insurance, okay, which can also help to cover the costs of assisted living or in-home care services, okay. Now, if you would like more information on that, you can definitely book a reading. You can book an appointment with me, and we can look into your specific situation and see about long-term care insurance. Okay. Now, the next thing that we want to discuss is why women face such unique challenges in when it comes to retirement planning. Okay. So first, it is the gender wage gap. Okay. So we know that women earn less than men, and they earn about 82 cents for every dollar that a man earns, which can lead to smaller retirement contributions. Okay. Now, another thing is that women often pause their careers to care for children or aging parents, which reduces lifetime earnings. Okay. And then also the fact that women live longer than men. So this requires that we have more savings. Okay. Now, some things you want to do, you want to start as early as possible. And this isn't something that I am constantly stressing because, like, if you are in your, even if you're in your 20s, but especially if you are 35 years and older, you need to start seriously thinking about retirement and putting money aside for retirement. Um, I posted the other day, I had talked to about 4 or 5 ladies within one day. And when it comes to talking about retirement, the consensus of all these ladies that I spoke with was, well, that's years away, so I don't have to worry about it now. I'll worry about it the closer that it gets here. Okay. And so burying your head in the sand and pushing it away and not thinking about it because it's just too much, it doesn't make it go away. And actually you are really doing yourself a disservice. Okay. Because the later you wait to start looking into products, to start um, looking into things to where you can start putting money aside, saving vehicles that you can use, such as like annuities or IULs, um, you are cutting off it's like you're losing time when it comes to compound interest. Okay. Because compound interest is it's a powerful tool that so many people underestimate. And when you start compounding interest sooner than later, it gives you more money that you have at your disposal when it comes to your retirement funds. Okay. And so you definitely want to start saving early because so yeah, you can take advantage of compound interest. You want to increase your contributions to those savings products um, when possible, especially after career breaks. And you want to also build a diversified investment portfolio to grow your wealth over time. Okay. Now, real quick, if you are enjoying this content, please do share this live out so that others can find value as well. Also, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you get notified whenever I go live. Okay. All right. So let's talk about um, planning for unexpected costs. Okay. Um, you do want to create an emergency fund. Okay. Now, I talked about starting a health savings account that is specifically just for your health care. Okay. But you also want to create a emergency fund that is specifically for retirement to cover any unexpected expenses like home repairs or any family assistance that, like with your children, your adult children, they may need some financial assistance. And so you don't want to dig into your retirement funds to help them. You want to have a separate account so that you can go into that account. If your kids need anything, you can just, go into that account and take money from that account to help out your children, and your retirement funds are still intact. Okay. Now you want to keep at least 6 to 12 months worth of living expenses in a liquid, easy, accessible account, like a savings account that you can just tap into, and it won't affect your retirement funds. Okay. And so let's talk about steps to bridging the gap so that you can save enough for retirement. Okay. If you have a 401k, you definitely want to max that out, or any IRA contributions you may have. You definitely want to max those out. Now, if you are 50 and older, you can use catch up contributions to accelerate your savings. Um, if you are a part time employer, a part time entrepreneur, and you are still working, take advantage of any retirement products that any retirement benefits that your employer has. Contribute enough to get the full company a match, because essentially it's free money. Okay, if you need to contribute 3%, and say in order for your employer to contribute 5%, or your company may, because I do know some companies, well, I don't know now, it used to be when I was working in a when I was in the working corporate world, um, where the employer would, if match a little more than you. But if you have to contribute 3%, and then your employer will match that, you definitely want to contribute the full 3%, because it's just free money that is going into your 401k. Okay. Um, we talked about opening a health savings account to cover future healthcare expenses, and it is tax free. Now, you may want to hold on one moment. Now, you may want to shift from a conservative savings to diversify investments that can outpace inflation. And you also want to consider, excuse me, working with a financial advisor who specializes in women's financial planning. Okay. And then you definitely want to review and adjust regularly for any life changes. So when you get married, when you get divorced, any career shifts that can impact your savings. And you also want to reassess your goals annually. Okay. Now, I talked about on another live that you can't just, a retirement plan is not a set it and forget it. Okay. It is not a set it and forget it. It is a living document, just like a will. It is a living document, just like life insurance. And so you have to constantly update these things. With life insurance, you have to constantly update your you have to constantly update your beneficiaries when things change. You have to constantly, update your will. You get divorced, you need to update your will. If you was leaving your husband something, he's no longer your husband. So you definitely need to update that. When you have grandkids, or if you have another child, there, all these things you need to constantly adjust it. And the same goes for your retirement plan as well. Okay. Now, saving more now, it could mean that you might have to cut back on little small luxuries. Okay. But wouldn't you want to trade a few small things today for financial peace for tomorrow? Now, I am not big on the whole cutting out your daily Starbucks to save money. Okay. However, until your finances get to where they are, if you are used to taking 1 to 2 trips a year, maybe you only take one trip a year, instead of taking 2 trips and save. Or if you want to continue to take your 2 trips, figure out a way to bring in more money. Okay. Now that's me. I'm a figure out a way to bring in more money type of girl. Okay. But you may be a girl that's like, you know what, I can cut back. I don't want to cut back. So I'm gonna figure out a way to bring more money so that I can save and have my Starbucks and take my trips. But everybody's different. Okay. What? Sure don't. All righty. Now, let's talk about avoiding common retirement planning pitfalls. Okay. The first pitfall. Okay. And I have been talking about this consistently. is thinking that Social Security will be enough. Okay. Um, the reality of it is, one, by 2037, Social Security is not even going to be paying a full 100% of beneficiary benefits. Okay. It's only going to be paying about 76% of the benefits of Social Security benefits, scheduled Social Security benefits. Okay. So right there, you losing about 25% of what you would actually be eligible for. Okay. Because Social Security is running dry. Okay. And that's the reality of it all. Okay. Also, another reality is, even if it was paying 100% of your benefit, it only replaces about 40% of your pre-retirement income. And women often receive less than men. Okay. So that right there is a slash in your fund. So if you think that Social Security will be enough, you are sadly mistaken. Hence why I said in the beginning of this live that so many women, they you hear them talk about how, they struggling during retirement because, their Social Security plus, maybe if they're getting a pension from being a teacher or working for the state or their jobs, is just not enough, especially with, you know, today's economy. Okay. And so you don't want to fall into that trap. Another thing is that pensions, and they're not even a thing anymore. Okay. Teachers and government still have retirement, but you know, it you don't even know if that's going to last within in the next 10 years or so. You don't even know if new incoming teachers, will that even be a thing, with the trajectory of how things are going. You don't even know if that will be a thing, right? And so you have to account for all of these things. And what is good today definitely may not still be the standard tomorrow, because you know 20 years ago, had you thought that we would be where we are today, nobody would have thought that, right? And so you have to, and it sounds kind of sad, bad to say this, but you have to plan for the worst, okay? Plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? Now, pitfall two that women often fall into is relying on a partner's savings. Okay. Women are more likely to face divorce or widowhood, leaving them financially vulnerable. How many times have you seen women who, their husbands unexpectedly die and they are caught like a deer in the headlights? One, they didn't have any idea what was going on with the household, with the savings, with the money in the household. They allowed their husbands to handle everything. And they, when he passed, he didn't tell them anything. They just knew that the bills were paid, they had food, they can go and do as they pleased. And then when he died, they didn't know what was going on. I've heard stories of so many women who have lost their homes. They didn't even know, where the life insurance policies were, like nothing. They were literally just distraught because they didn't know how they were going to live. They had children, they didn't know how they're going to take care of their kids. Just a really sad situation. And so you do not want to be caught in that. You want to make sure you always know what's going on with the finances. Even if your husband is the one that handles everything, you need to know exactly what it is that he's handling. You don't want to be caught like a deer in the headlights if something was to happen to him, or if you are to get a divorce. Okay. And I did a live last month talking about women, how divorce affects women and their retirement finances. And I will link that in the description of this live, so you can go back and check that out. You always want to know what's going on with your with the household's finances. Okay. And the last pitfall is not accounting for healthcare costs. Okay. And I discussed that earlier. You always want to make sure that you have some money set aside for your healthcare costs, because every year healthcare costs go up. Insurance goes up every year, and so does healthcare costs. And so you have to account for that when it comes to planning for your retirement. Okay. Now, here are a few practical steps that you can take to avoid these pitfalls. The first thing is you want to create an independent retirement plan that is independent of your partners, okay? And it's not saying that you think you and your husband gonna get divorced, or nothing like that. But you got to take care of you, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. You have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And if you don't, you're going to be up the creek without a paddle, as my mama used to say. Okay. Now, you also want to build an emergency fund for unexpected expenses. And you definitely want to educate yourself on Medicare and long-term care insurance options. Okay. Because Medicare, if you don't understand Medicare, it can definitely have you almost bankrupt. And I learned that the hard way when I was taking care of my dad. I didn't really understand Medicare. And so he had original Medicare. And had I known that about Medicare Advantage plans, which is Part C, it would have definitely saved my dad a lot of money. Right. And so, after he passed away, I started learning more and more about Medicare. And then I became an agent. And so you definitely want to educate yourself on Medicare. Even if Medicare is years away from for you, you need to understand it, because if you have parents who are coming up to that Medicare age, you want to be able to help them to navigate Medicare and their long-term care options. Okay. All right. And so your future self is counting on you to make smart choices today. Okay. And so whether you are 25 or 55, it is never too late for you to start building the retirement that you deserve. Okay. Now, you want to also consider supplementary income in your retirement. Okay. So you want to look for ways that you can diversify your income sources to reduce pressure on your savings. Okay. So some options you might want to look into is rental properties. You may want to look into dividends from investments. You also want to look in delaying Social Security benefits later, so that it can increase your monthly payout. Um, you want to also look into other vehicles that you can use um, first, that will be better on the taxes, because you also have to think, just because you save the money, you have to make the money last throughout retirement. And so there is a specific way that, depending on what savings vehicles and things that you have, how to strategically disperse that money. One, so that it lasts, and two, that it don't get eaten up by taxes, because that's another problem that happens when it comes to retirement, is because your retirement funds are eaten up by taxes. Because just because you're not working, Uncle Sam still want his cut, point blank, period. So you have to figure out how to strategically disperse your money so that it is reducing your tax bill. Okay. Um, and now, retirement is not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It is about creating the freedom to live life on your terms. You work all your life, and you don't want to have to get to retirement and not be able to live the life that you want to live. You might have felt like you couldn't live that life when you was working. Now you get to retirement and you still can't live that life, because you didn't take control of your finances. And so that is something that you want to do. You have the power to take control of your future. And so you need to start today and give yourself the gift of security and independence. Now, you also need to make sure that you have life insurance. Okay. Life insurance is something that people sleep on, especially women. Well, yeah, I can say that because now more women are starting to really get hip to life insurance and talking about life insurance, but we are still more underinsured than men. Okay. And so life insurance is a key component of retirement because you can use life insurance actually to help you grow your money for retirement. There are life insurance products that you can purchase that will give you a death benefit, but it will also give you living benefits. It will also give you where you can have money that's essentially like a savings account that you would be able to tap into should something were to happen. Okay. And so definitely if you want more information about those, you can book a appointment with me. We can sit down. We can go over, assess your assets and everything, and see if these products would be a good fit for you. Now, if you are like, I don't even know how to assess my assets. I don't even know how much life insurance I would even need. I got you. I got a free ebook, and it teaches you how to calculate your life insurance need. I will put the link. The link is in the description of this live, so you can definitely go. It's absolutely free, and it explains the whole process, and there's also a worksheet attached so that you can use that worksheet to calculate exactly how much life insurance that you would need. Okay. And so that's what I have for you tonight. I hope you found value in this live. If you did, please do share it out so that others may find value as well. Give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to continue to see more, if you like this content and you want to see more of my content, please do subscribe so that you get notified anytime I go live or post a new video. All right. And so until next time, remember, nobody is coming to save you. And so you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. All right. Have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.